So we're going to tackle a question that's been debated for decades. Who was the true founder of Pakistan? I mean, was it the poet-philosopher who first dreamed it up, the radical student who actually gave it a name, or the brilliant lawyer who politically made it all happen? Let's get into it. Now, this is a classic exam-style question, right? And the thing is, there's no simple answer. You can't just pick one name. Each of these guys played a totally different but absolutely crucial role. By the end of this, you'll get exactly what each one did, and you'll be able to build a really solid argument no matter who you're trying to convince.
All right, so here's how we're gonna break this all down. First, we'll look at the whole quest for a homeland. Then we'll get to know the dreamer, the namer, and the architect. And finally, we'll see how the new nation actually got built.
Okay, so to really get why there was this call for a separate country, you've got to go back to the early 20th century. At that time, a lot of Muslims in British India just felt like their entire identity, their politics, their culture, their religion, was being pushed to the side. And that growing feeling of insecurity, well, that's the soil where the idea of Pakistan really started to grow.
And that leads us right to our first pillar, the poet and philosopher Allama Muhammad Iqbal. You know, they call him the spiritual father of Pakistan, and for very good reason. He's the one who really gave this whole movement its intellectual backbone, its philosophical soul.
Now, pay attention here, because if you're prepping for a quiz, you absolutely need to know this. Iqbal's core argument was something called the two-nation theory. And in a nutshell, it's the idea that Muslims weren't just some minority group in India. Nope. He argued they were a completely separate nation, with their own culture, religion, and way of life.
And this quote, this is a total game changer. It's from his super famous 1930 Allahabad address. This is the moment where Iqbal took this big philosophical idea of a separate nation and basically put it on a map. He gave it a geographical home. Suddenly, it wasn't just an idea anymore. It was a place.
Okay, so Iqbal gave the movement a soul. But, you know, a soul needs a name, right? And that's where our second pillar comes in, Chaudhry Rehmat Ali. If Iqbal was the dreamer, you could say Rehmat Ali was the radical who shouted that dream from the rooftops. So get this, in 1933, while he was just a student at Cambridge, Rehmat Ali publishes this pamphlet, Now or Never. And it was explosive. It was this passionate, no compromise demand for a separate Muslim state. It was way more radical than anything the mainstream leaders were even thinking about at the time.
And here's a fantastic little fact for your next quiz. Where did the name Pakistan actually come from? Well, it was an acronym. Rehmat Ali made it up himself, and it stands for the key Muslim majority regions in the northwest of India. All of a sudden, this idea had a name, a banner that people could actually rally behind.
But here's where the story takes a twist. Rehmat Ali's vision was way bigger than the Pakistan that was eventually created. He was imagining a whole subcontinent with several different Muslim states. So when the 1947 partition actually happened, he was heartbroken. He saw it as a total betrayal, like a tiny, watered-down version of his grand idea.
I mean, you can just feel the disappointment in that quote, can't you? His radical, all-or-nothing stance ended up getting him pushed to the side by the main Muslim League leadership, and he actually died in exile, a long way from the very country that he gave a name to. So, we have a dream and we have a name. But an idea and a name don't just magically become a country. You need someone to actually build it, to fight for it in the political arena. And that's where our third and final pillar comes in. The master strategist, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, known as the Quaid-e-Azam, or Great Leader.
Just look at Jinnah's political journey here. It's incredible. He actually started out as a big believer in Hindu-Muslim unity, but then things started to change. You had events like the 1928 Nehru Report, which shot down key Muslim demands like having their own separate representatives. For Jinnah, that was a real turning point. He became convinced that the only way to protect Muslim interests was to create a separate state.
And this is where you really see Jinnah's genius as a leader. He took the Muslim League, which was basically, a stuffy club for rich guys, and he turned it into a massive movement for the people. His sharp legal mind and just relentless campaigning inspired millions of ordinary Muslims to rally to the cause.
And if you want proof of how successful he was, just look at these numbers from the 1945-46 elections. The Muslim League just crushed it, winning a huge majority of the seats reserved for Muslims. This was it. This was the powerful, undeniable message that the vast majority of Indian Muslims wanted Pakistan.
But listen, winning independence in 1947 wasn't the finish line. Not even close. Now came the really hard part.
building an entire nation from scratch, right in the middle of total chaos.
And the challenges were just staggering. I mean, the new country was facing a perfect storm of problems. It was split into two pieces, geographically separate. The economy was a wreck. There was political infighting, and on top of all that, a massive refugee crisis with millions of people forced from their homes. This is a really key thing to remember for any exam question about the early days of Pakistan.
And here's the really tragic part. Jinnah only lived for about a year after independence, and he was seriously ill the whole time. But in that one short, precious year, he worked himself to the bone. He laid the foundation for the entire state, from the government and the state bank to the army. He basically made sure that Pakistan would survive when so many thought it would collapse.
And let's finish on this really powerful quote from Jinnah's very first speech to the new country. He laid out this vision of a modern nation where your religion has nothing to do with being a citizen, where everyone is equal. It's a vision that's still so important and debated in Pakistan today. So, who was the true founder, the dreamer, the namer, or the architect? Well, the real answer, and the best takeaway for any exam, is that it wasn't just one of them. It took all three to build a nation.